Suffering is a sad reality of our world. It exists in many forms. It affects people of all ages, backgrounds, and beliefs. From the pangs of hunger to the wounds of war, suffering leaves its mark on us all. No corner of the globe is untouched by its presence. It's a shared human experience that connects us in ways we may not always realize. Suffering can be physical. It's the pain of an injury or the ache of a disease. It's the feeling of hunger when you haven't eaten. It's the exhaustion from long hours of work. Physical suffering is real and it hurts. Suffering can also be emotional. It's the feeling of sadness when you lose someone you love. It's the anxiety you feel when you are afraid. It's the loneliness of being alone. Emotional suffering can be just as debilitating as physical pain. Social suffering is another form of pain. It's the feeling of being excluded or discriminated against. It's the injustice of being treated unfairly because of your race, religion, or gender. Social suffering can lead to isolation and despair. Many things cause suffering. Wars and conflicts tear apart families and communities. Poverty denies people basic necessities like food, shelter, and healthcare. Natural disasters, like earthquakes and floods, can cause widespread destruction and loss of life. Human behavior also contributes to suffering. Greed and selfishness lead to inequality and exploitation. Hatred and intolerance fuel discrimination and violence. Our choices have consequences, and sometimes those consequences are pain and suffering for others. Systemic issues like corruption and lack of access to education perpetuate cycles of poverty and injustice. These systems are often built on inequality and favor the privileged few at the expense of the many. Suffering is a complex issue with no easy solutions, but we can all do our part to create a more just and compassionate world. We can start by acknowledging the suffering of others and listening to their stories. We can educate ourselves about the root causes of suffering and support organizations working to address them. Every act of kindness, no matter how small, can make a difference. By showing empathy and understanding, we can help to heal the wounds of suffering and build a brighter future for all.